Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto episode 205, full spoilers. Alright guys, this episode right here is going to be absolutely insane regarding lore. There's not going to be much fights, but a lot of information is going to be dealt out. For example, Kashin Koji's true plans, also the next big fight in the Boruto series, and not only that, but also the Kado organization's next moves, and also of course the well-being of Naruto and Sasuke, which is probably going to be the biggest thing at this particular point. Now if you guys aren't necessarily familiar with this video format, I basically go over exactly what happens in chapter 39 to pretty much get an idea of what's going to happen in episode 205. Specifically, chapter 39 is going to be what's adapted into episode 205. It's going to almost be the exact same thing with some kind of key differences, and I'll basically tell you guys what the key differences are. But without further ado, let's get into the actual spoiler. The episode is going to start off with Kawaki's arm again falling off. In the Boruto manga, they did it a little bit different. They had Boruto and everybody else show up after Kawaki's arm fell off, but right after that, Shikamaru and everybody else shows up. This is exactly what we did see in the Boruto preview of episode 205, and I did go over that in my last video. In this particular situation, Shikamaru was a lot more lenient than his first interaction with Kawaki. He puts Kawaki under a shadow paralysis jutsu and also puts up a whole barrier around Naruto's house. Shikamaru says this right here is to prevent Kawaki from leaving and also to prevent any enemy backup. But right after the barrier went up, Shikamaru released the shadow paralysis jutsu. Now at this particular point, he's pretty much detailing to Kawaki like, hey, I'm doing what Naruto wants me to do. He's not necessarily treating Kawaki like a prisoner. Now at this particular point, Shikamaru is kind of grilling Kawaki, trying to figure out everything that Kawaki actually knows. Kawaki basically tells him exactly what happened. Kawaki says he doesn't know what happened. His karma still started to hurt. It formed a pattern that he's never seen before, and Jigen automatically popped up through a time space ninjutsu. Kawaki said as he popped up, Jigen took Naruto to a different dimension. Shikamaru starts to rationalize it and pretty much asks if he took Naruto to a different dimension, it pretty much means that Jigen was trying to keep him there. And then Shikamaru questioned why isn't he back yet. Shikamaru then hypothesized that Naruto probably beat Jigen. Obviously that's not the case because we see in the last episode of the Boruto series. But also Shikamaru tells Kawaki that he feels like Kawaki might be a spy. He says, I'll be honest with you, I don't trust you at all, never have, right from the get-go. Now at this particular point, Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki, they're pretty much defending Kawaki like, yo, what are you talking about? But of course, Shikamaru, in my opinion, is definitely justified in feeling the way he is feeling, and he tells Kawaki that he's on house arrest. Boruto, of course, says house arrest is too extreme, but Kawaki then agrees with Shikamaru. At this particular point, it seems that Kawaki is kind of defeated. In his mind, he probably thinks that Naruto is actually dead, mainly because his arm actually fell off. If you guys did recall, before his arm fell off, Kawaki was extremely gung-ho of actually trying to go find Naruto, but at this particular point, he seems super calm. In his mind, he's kind of rationalizing what life is probably going to be like without Naruto, which is kind of crazy. But here's where things actually heat up. The scene quickly shifts towards Kashin Koji. This scene right here in the anime is going to be extremely different. In the Boruto manga, it made it seem like Kashin Koji didn't necessarily know exactly what happened in the other dimension, but obviously from the Boruto anime, Kashin Koji did actually sneak a toad in, so he knows exactly what happened in the other dimension. But regardless, later on in that scene, Kashin Koji then emphasized that he might be able to take down Jigen himself because Jigen may have expended too much chakra. Now this right here pretty much lays out what Kashin Koji was angling for the whole time. Kashin Koji wanted to find an opening to actually see exactly what Jigen's weaknesses were. That's probably why he was actually tuning in and seeing exactly what happened in the fight. But also now it doesn't necessarily matter, mainly because Jigen is just that weak, and now Kashin Koji sees an opening and he's probably going to exploit that opening. Now the scene directly shifts to Amato and Jigen in the Kado organization hideout. Amato's pretty much telling Jigen like, yo, you had too much fun. Jigen is then agreeing, and then he said the reason why he was agreeing. Jigen then said Kawaki is maturing a lot more than he thought he was. He pretty much says his karma still is ripening at an astonishing pace. He's no longer just a simple and complete vessel. He then fantasizes that he shall awaken as a perfect Otsutsuki, and then we get this insane clip with Boruto and Kawaki with their karma seal horn forms out, and they're basically standing in front of a giant god tree. In this particular frame, he says they'll both become powerful Otsutsuki. A giant divine tree shall grow huge enough to devour all life on this planet. Now at this particular point, Amato looks kind of worried, mainly because obviously if they're going to devour all life on the planet, Amato's going to be a part of that. But Jigen kind of reassures Amato. He says, don't worry, Amato, everyone's wishes will be granted, including yours, of course. Now the manga readers, we still don't really know what Amato's true wishes are, but right after Jigen said this, he looked directly at Delta, and Delta was just completely confused. Delta said, huh, what are you staring at, geezer? You're creeping me out. And then Amato tells Jigen, I'm counting on you. So this right here pretty much gives us an idea of exactly what Amato wants, or allegedly what Amato wants. Of course, there's definitely a possibility that Amato is actually lying to Jigen. From this scene right here, it pretty much tells us that Jigen kind of promises everybody in the Kado organization something that they do want. Now the scene switches back to Naruto's house. In this particular scene, Boruto is arguing with Shikamaru. He's pretty much saying like, what are you talking about? There's no possible way that Kawaki can be a spy. They're literally just arguing back and forth, not necessarily saying much. Kawaki looks completely defeated. Kawaki's having a bunch of flashbacks of Naruto. One of the first flashbacks that Kawaki had was him being introduced to Naruto and Naruto telling him, hey, my name is Uzumaki Naruto and I'm called the Hokage, the leader of this village. One of the things that Kawaki was questioning at this particular point was why Naruto was being so nice to him. Just the thought of losing Naruto actually forced Kawaki to hyperventilate. Sarada then tries to comfort Kawaki by talking to him and explaining to him what Naruto was actually like. Sarada is pretty much saying that she has the same kind of experiences with Naruto. Sarada actually says she wonders what her life would have been like if Naruto was actually her father. So at this particular point, Kawaki starting to understand like Naruto is just an actually good guy. Of course, Kawaki himself has fears that Naruto was only doing this because he had some sort of ulterior motives and to actually gain information about the Kado organization, and never really had Kawaki's best interests at heart. But of course, because Naruto treats everybody like this, he's starting to understand that Naruto is just generally a very good guy. Sarada also expressed her jealousy that Boruto is actually Naruto's son, and also at the fact that Boruto in the beginning took everything for granted. And then the scene switches back with Boruto arguing with Shikamaru some more, but here's where things really heat up. The prosthetic arm that Naruto gave Kawaki started to light up again and start to radiate Naruto's chakra. This right here was an absolutely amazing scene. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very emotional in the Boruto anime. At this particular point, Boruto, Kawaki, Sarada, and Mitsuki are understanding that Naruto is actually alive, and the spirit that Kawaki had before his arm actually fell off is completely instilled right back into Kawaki. Kawaki wants to make a beeline to Naruto's chakra. He says because of the chakra link, he can actually sense where Naruto is. He then tells Boruto to work with him, and then Isshiki Otsutsuki's karma sign pops up on Kawaki's hand. Kawaki starts to open a time space ninjutsu, and not only that, Momoshiki's Otsutsuki sign pops up on Boruto's karma seal as well. This is going to be the first time that we did see this on Boruto, which is going to be absolutely insane. And then Boruto's karma seal also started to contribute to the time space ninjutsu. Now this right here essentially is a portal to the dimension that Naruto is actually in. It's not necessarily going to be the portal to where Naruto is in regards to his ceiling, but just to where Naruto is actually being kept. Kawaki then starts to rationalize everything that he was pretty much being told earlier on by Jigen. He's starting to understand that him and Jigen are actually on the same wavelength, and everything that Jigen can do through the karma seal, Kawaki is also able to do the exact same things as well. So Kawaki pretty much tells everybody in Team 7 like, yo, come on, let's go rescue Lord 7th. And everybody's all gung-ho about going, but Shikamaru quickly puts everybody in a shadow possession jutsu. Shikamaru's like, yo, what are you doing? But immediately Kawaki goes to absorb the shadow possession jutsu. Everybody else runs right through the portal, and right before Kawaki enters the portal, he tells Shikamaru, you just need proof, right? Fine, I'll get it for you. They then go into the portal where they see Boro, a member of the Kado organization, a guy that's gotten a lot more character development in the Boruto anime than he did get in the Boruto manga, which is very, very satisfying. And of course, they are now setting up a battle with Boro versus the new Team 7. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below. In my opinion right here, this is going to be one of the best episodes of Boruto period in regards to episodes that do not include a battle. I think this right here is going to be absolutely insane. A lot of lore building in this episode. Let me know what you guys think. It's me, your boy Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.